Hello, I'm Martin Ballard, and the latest video on this channel is from a recent trip in March 2022 to the Portuguese capital Lisbon. Now, if you enjoy any of the videos on this channel, make sure you click on the like button, ring the notification bell to be informed of any future videos, and make sure you subscribe. Now, our short break in Lisbon was a very last-minute booking after another trip we planned had to be changed. We used the website lastminute.com and got flights from Stansted with Ryanair, accommodation at the perfectly placed Hotel Mundial, arranged airport parking with Holiday Extras, and off we went. So let's start with a look at the hotel, which had a rating of 4 out of 5 on TripAdvisor, which I think was rather harsh because it was a fabulous base to explore the city with comfortable rooms, a nice bar-off reception and a fabulous restaurant and rooftop bar with stunning panoramic views of the city and its sunsets. I have to say I was surprised to find out that Lisbon is one of the least visited capital cities, but maybe that's why it's so laid back and hasn't lost any of its charm. It's an excellent place to just explore, but make sure you take comfortable walking shoes because the streets and pavements are cobbled and the city is built on 7 hills. The climb is well worth it though, with incredible views over the city, and it has of course an unrivaled position by the sea. In fact, there are several sandy beaches just minutes from the city centre. This is the Santa Justa elevator, which was built in 1902 and designed by Raoul de Menier de Ponsard, former apprentice of course to Gustave Eiffel, the man behind the famous tower in Paris. It connects the lower and upper parts of the city from Rua de Santo Justa to Bairro Alto, and there's a neo-Gothic feature on top of the elevator which can be reached by a spiral staircase. Here there's a cafe with great views across the city. And there are in fact 4 elevators in Lisbon to help get people from the lower areas of the city to those higher up. This impressive government building was once a Benedictine monastery. São Bento Palace houses the Assembly of the Republic now, but it was severely damaged in the earthquake of 1755 and later nationalised when religious orders were expelled. A fire in 1895 led to the palace's restructuring in the neoclassical style. The stairs with the 2 marble lines flanking it were then added in 1941. Today, the Prime Minister's office is situated in the rear of the building. Now, if you're looking for something to eat or drink in Lisbon, there's certainly plenty of choice. This is the Time Out Market, a concept created from scratch by the Time Out Portugal team, who say if it's good, it goes in the magazine, if it's great, it goes into the market. There are 24 restaurants, 8 bars, a dozen shops, a cooking school and a high-end music venue. The market is also home to some of the city's finest market traders of meat, fish, fruit and flowers. The food hall itself has 40 restaurants and shops served by more than 500 seats in covered areas and 250 more outside. After a day of walking and a fabulous meal, what better way to end the day than a return to the Hotel Mundial to enjoy a drink at the rooftop bar and the panoramic views of the beautiful city at night. After an excellent night's sleep, we're up bright and early for the next morning and a very nice buffet breakfast at the hotel with windows looking out across Marty Moniz Square. That is also very handy because this is where the famous number 28 tram starts from. These trams began service back in 1914 and are still the best way to get around the network of narrow winding streets. There are other vintage and modern trams, but riding tram 28 has become one of Lisbon's most popular activities. The trams have kept much of the original interiors. They've got glossy wood panels and chrome, so it's a bit of a journey back in time, passing some major attractions with opportunities to hop on and off for attractions and spectacular lookout views. At the time of our trip, the tickets were priced at €3 for a single trip and they can be purchased from the driver. Most people, though, used prepaid cards. They're certainly more cost effective, and that includes tourists who buy the Lisbon card. Now, there's also a 24-hour public transport ticket sold at any metro station for €6.45, and with it you can ride not just the 28 but all the trams, the buses and the metro. When you enter through the front door of the tram, make sure you validate your ticket though by scanning it on the machine behind the driver. One of the stops on the Tram 28 route is outside the Prazeer Cemetery. It was created in 1833 and has the oldest and largest concentration of cypress trees in the Iberian Peninsula. Now, most of the tombs and vaults are monumental, including what is Europe's largest private monument, a mausoleum built in 1849, which belongs to the family of the Duke of Palmella and is so large that from a distance it looks like a church. Among those who created the works of art is the Italian sculptor Canova, and there's enough space to hold the bodies of over 200 people. Now, there are so many other impressively ornate tombs here in this cemetery, which looks out from the top of a hill to the wonderful view of the 25th of April Bridge. Looking down on the city is St George's Castle. The oldest parts of the castle date back to ancient Roman times. It later became a Moorish palace fortified in the 11th century, and when the city was taken by King Alfonso Enrique I in 1147, aided by the Northern European Crusaders, the castle became a royal residence as well as the royal court, home to the bishop and the royal archives. In thanks for the Crusaders' help, the castle was named after the patron saint of England, St George. Now, sadly, the castle suffered damage from the 1755 earthquake and underwent many renovations which covered up the historic monument. The fortified walls and the original 18 towers survived the earthquake, and today we can see the remains of the royal palace and the castle in the archaeological exhibit, and the citadel has been restored to its former glory. You can climb the ramparts and get views across the city. There's a beautiful castle garden where ducks, peacocks and geese wander around, and in the Tower of Ulysses you can see panoramic views projected onto a circular screen from a periscope. In the ruins of the former royal palace you can also see a multimedia show about Lisbon's history. Now, tinned fish has been part of Portugal's heritage since 1853 and became an original fast food when the national canning industry was born. It was cheap and convenient as a source of protein, particularly during difficult times, and is eaten by locals with everything from sourdough bread to salad or pasta. This is one of many shops in Lisbon, with the shelves stacked from floor to ceiling with cans of sardines, horse mackerel, tuna, anchovies, octopus, eel and many more. But it can be a perfect souvenir, as the contents stay preserved long after you've left the city, and the bright packaging makes for a unique gift. There are several other Portuguese foods to try, from the pastel de nata or custard tarts to these codfish cakes or salt cod fritters, which date back as far as 1760 and are an icon of the Portuguese cuisine. They're deep fried and traditionally made from a combination of mashed potatoes, shredded salt cod, eggs, onion and parsley. This shop and cafe is just off the Santa Justa elevator and right next to the ruined Carmo. This was Lisbon's greatest medieval building until its roof collapsed on the congregation during the All Saints' Day Mass in the devastating earthquake of 1755 that destroyed most of the city. It was never rebuilt, but the Gothic arches still stand. Most of the architecture dates back to the 1300s, but some windows and other details were added later in the 16th and 18th centuries. Inside is a small archaeological museum donated by archaeologists in the 19th century. Among the treasures from Portugal and elsewhere are the Roman sarcophagus of the Muses, the Gothic tomb of King Ferdinand I, the Baroque tomb of Queen Maria Anna of Austria, who was in fact Queen of Portugal from 1742 to 1750, an Egyptian mummy, and eerie mummies of a young boy and girl from Peru.
Worsened by the fire that occurred afterwards. After this catastrophe, and contrary to what was believed over several centuries, a good part
The streets of the city come to life again in the evening with bars and restaurants on every corner, music everywhere, and of course the fabulous views enhanced by lights right across the city. A short number 15 tram journey will take you west of the city to the mouth of the river Tagus, and that's where you'll find Belem. It's rich in history, the site of maritime legends, the birthplace of the pastel de nata, the custard tart, and home of some of Portugal's most important museums and galleries. It was from here, in the 15th century, that explorer Vasco da Gama set sail for India. The first stop for us here was another of Lisbon's most iconic buildings, the UNESCO-protected Torre de Belem. It rises from the water near to the mouth of the Tagus and is one of the few 16th century buildings to have survived the 1755 earthquake. This military fortress in many ways symbolises the resilience of the city it guards. Queues can be long here, but it's well worth the wait to explore the dungeons and views of the river across to the Rio-inspired statue of Christ. A short walk away is this imposing 1960s monument to discoveries, built to celebrate the country's contribution to the age of discovery in the 15th and 16th centuries. It depicts 33 historical figures, including Henry the Navigator, Vasco da Gama, and Ferdinand Magellan, organiser of the first expedition to circumnavigate the globe. For a small fee, you can take a lift to the top for more panoramic views of Belem and the river. From the top of the monument, you get a look at the impressive Geronimo Monastery, which features on many tourist websites and postcards from Lisbon. From its beginnings in 1501, it took almost a century to complete, thanks to the increasingly elaborate designs, a testament to the prosperity of Lisbon at the height of the Portuguese Empire. If you visit, you'll be impressed by its impressive cloisters, detailed stonework, and the major historical figures buried here, including Vasco da Gama. We spent 5 days in Lisbon, and despite walking around 10 miles a day through quaint, winding shop and cafe-lined streets, taking trams, lifts, elevators and so on, we'd still like to return because there is still so much to see, not least a trip to the picturesque town of Sintra. We explored the cathedral and other churches and countless squares, including Commerce Square, which opens up in front of you when you walk through this triumphal arch at the end of the pedestrian street Rua Augusta towards the River Tagus. We didn't go inside, but it's normally open to visitors if you want to go up to the observation level. It was built back in 1755 following the earthquake as a celebration of the reconstruction of the city and was only completed in 1875. Now, if you think you may have seen it before, the arch featured in the Ted Danson version of Gulliver's Travels, when Gulliver was wheeled through this arch in Lilliput. And I'm afraid that's about it from this episode, but to summarise before we finish, I would certainly recommend you give Lisbon a chance as a city break or even more. This is a fabulous city by the sea. It offers so much, there is so much to see and do, fantastic choices to eat and drink, and it's not expensive either. The people are really friendly and we are definitely going to go back. Now don't forget to check out the other travel videos on this channel featuring all of the theme parks in Orlando, parks that no longer exist like Cypress Gardens and Opryland USA, plus European parks and other trips with top tips, hints and ideas. If you enjoy any of the videos, make sure you click on the like button, ring the notification bell to be informed of any future videos, and make sure you subscribe too. And I'll see you next time for the next episode of Main Street Martin.